Hey, what's up? This month I've been talking about mindfulness. I guess this is what, my second or third episode about mindfulness? It doesn't really matter because today we're going to talk about loving kindness and compassion. You ready? You ready to roll with me? I certainly hope so because we're going to do so in just one moment. Hey there. Welcome to Stress Talk Live with Marcyline. This is the place where we help women over 40 to live healthier lives through strategic stress management and solution focused self care. I'm Marcyline, and I'm so glad that you joined me today. I'm excited about this month because we're talking about mindfulness meditation. And I'm really excited about today's episode because I just finished a teacher training in the method of meta meditation. So I am certified to teach you how to do meta meditation. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about meta in a few moments when we get into our topic. But first, as always, please like, follow, and subscribe to ML Bailey Consultants, and you'll find me on Facebook, YouTube, as well as Instagram. That's at ML Bailey Consultants. Also, if you'd like to learn more, go to this link. It has more information about me and some of the things that I offer. And if you just don't want to go to that link, go to this one because it is my website. You'll learn a little bit more about me professionally, as well as some of my offerings. So, so what are we talking about today? Um, I, as I just said, I just completed a training in meta meditation, and I'm excited about it because it opens up a whole new avenue for connection or to connection. And I'll get into that in just a moment. But when I uploaded the announcement about today's episode, I asked a question, a question in the narrative. And my question was, does anybody remember the song, What the World Needs Now is Love? Because if you were around during the 1960s, that song was very popular. I think it even made it to like the top 10 or the number one song at some point. I was too young to really know, um, excuse me, to know about all of that, the rankings and all. Oh, I have a cough. I'm going to get some water. I was too young to know about that, but I did like the song. I loved the song. The song was actually written, the lyrics were written by Hal David, who was a lyricist, songwriter, and the music was composed by Burt Bacharach. And I happened back in the 60s, I was a little kid. I loved Burt Bacharach because I also loved Dionne Warwick. Excuse me for having to get a drink. I love Dionne Warwick. And they had a partnership. He would compose and she would sing. In any case, I thought about that song. What the world needs now is love. And if you haven't heard it, it goes something like this. Again, I don't want to infringe on anybody's copyright or anything, but I'm gonna try to sing a lyric of it. It goes like, "What the world needs now is love, sweet love. It's the only thing that there's just too little of." Something like that. Jackie DeShannon sang it, was the first to sing it. But again, I'm more familiar with Dionne Warwick's version of it. And it came out in the 1960s. I was a very little kid, but music was big in our household. My mom played a lot of pop, R&B, soul music. We used to go to the record stores to get records, and yes, 45s and albums, by the way. And my dad was a big jazz enthusiast, so we always had a lot of jazz playing. We had music playing in our household. Um, but during the 60s, it was a tumultuous time here in the United States. And knowing the history, knowing knowing the history, having learned it, having studied it on my own, having gone back to get some questions answered for myself about that time period, it was a chaotic and a very scary time for a lot of adults. I remember having a conversation um, when I worked for a nonprofit organization. I had a conversation with a coworker who said it was an awful time. It was just horrible. It was an awful time. And I didn't remember it that way. But of course, I remembered it through the eyes of a child. Also, I remembered it in a household that looked very different than my coworkers' household at that household. We looked different, and I'm sure our households looked very different. The reason I'm saying all of this is for those of you who can remember the 1960s and all that was going on and that was happening in our country and in the world, it is not so dissimilar than what's happening right now in this country and in the world. There were very big divisions. We weren't talking to each other. They weren't talking. I was a little kid. I was playing outside, but the adults weren't really talking to each other, and there were different camps. It was us against them, and us against them over there, and us against them over there, and we're going to stay away from anybody who doesn't think like, look like, talk like, sound like, follow what we follow. It was a very tumultuous time here. And yes, we're going through it now, a very tumultuous time. And it is scary. It's scary because we don't know what's going to happen. And so I wanted to talk about how we can, as women, really win the world. We can absolutely, and I believe this, we can absolutely win the world practicing compassion and loving kindness. And so I'm going to go through some of my thoughts, and I'm going to hit really hard loving kindness, and I'll just touch on compassion. But I'm going to go through this because I believe that it is very key to perhaps changing how we are looking at where we are right now, and perhaps influencing the world around us, our environment, the people we encounter in ways in which we never thought we could. So if you will bear with me, I'm going to jump right into our topic, and you see it on the screen. It's scrolling on our screen, how women absolutely win the world practicing compassion and loving kindness. First of all, let's talk about the concept of winning. You know, when we're winning, I mean, there's an indication of success. There's victory and there's triumph, right? And we put a lot into that. Everybody wants to win. Well, when we win, of course, we've gained something. I mean, there's if we're pursuing something intellectual or some knowledge, we gain because we acquire that intellect. But there's another aspect of winning where there's a contest in which there's a prize involved. And I mean, that could be a track sporting event like track. It could be tennis. The French Open just concluded, and we have a men's champion, a women's champion. We have doubles champions, and down and so forth, right? So there's a contest in which there is a prize that we can gain by being the best, by triumphing over our opponents. The thing about winning is it's a concept that is often misconstrued, and it is, and it's misconstrued a lot right now. There's an idea that in order for me to win, you must lose. Think about that. Don't we hear that very often? It's the idea of, in order for me to win, in order for me to be triumphant, in order for me to be victorious, you have to lose. Somebody has to lose, and it may as well be you, not me. There's also the thought that if I am victorious, I am the winner. Call me a winner. But that also means that if you lost, you're a loser. So we've personified these terms, winner and loser. And if I win, I'm a winner, and you are a loser. So these are all misconceptions about the idea or the concept of winning. And when we have that kind of idea where in order for me to win, you must lose, and I'm a winner, you're a loser, there leaves very little room for genuine connection. And why is connection important? Because in reality, in truth, we are all interconnected. We all rely on each other. It's very important for us to be able to, yes, it's very important for us to be able to interact in meaningful ways because we are interconnected. If there's an oil spill on the road and it's caused by something or someone that I don't know personally, it could still affect me if I'm traveling that road, right? If my dog runs out and bites someone, that I'm interconnected. I have a connection to that person because of what's happened with my dog. So we have to be able to understand that instead of striving for me being a winner and you being a loser, we want to strive for a win-win situation where there's mutual benefit, where the outcome is mutually beneficial to both of us. Now, wouldn't that be great if our politicians could hear that there is give and take, there's compromise, and there's no name calling. Yeah, wouldn't that be great? Yes, it would. And it is because of this concept of winning, that's one of the reasons I want to talk about loving kindness and compassion. Because we really need to understand that it is important for us to express and practice loving kindness because we are interconnected. We're not winners and losers. We want to strive for mutually beneficial outcomes. So let's talk about loving kindness. When we talk about loving kindness, we're really talking about it can be likened to warmth or friendliness, goodwill, or just plain kindness, benevolence. Saying good morning to your neighbor, saying good morning to a stranger you see on the street, holding the door for someone out of kindness, greeting someone with a smile, warmth, friendliness, goodwill, beneficence, kindness, loving kindness. When we practice loving kindness, it's actually, we're opening our heart. We're opening our heart and focusing goodwill towards someone other than ourselves. But we can also focus it on ourselves. Loving kindness is the sincere wish for the happiness and the welfare of others. How about that? We do not have to be enemies. We do not have to wish other people ill. We do not have to put other people down to win. We can sincerely wish for the happiness and welfare of others because that's what we want for ourselves. And it's really what others want for themselves as well. There is a practice that's called metta, and I talked about that earlier. And metta meditation is it's an awareness practice. It begins with an awareness practice, but it's around loving kindness. And when we practice metta, METTA, I probably should have put that as it scrolls, I should have put metta in there, but METTA is metta. When we practice metta, we actually gain insight into how interconnected everything is, the interconnected nature of everything. Yes, we are all interconnected. The amount of trash that our household generates actually affects someone who's in the Southeast Asia, on an island. The concept of burning fossil fuels here, driving my car every day, and the hundreds of thousands of other people who drive their car every day, it actually affects other people in other parts of the world because we know there's such a thing as global warming, and it's caused by, or the burning of fossil fuels contributes to it. So when we practice metta or loving kindness meditation practice, we're actually opening our hearts and we're gaining an insight that everything, all beings, everything is interconnected. But there's also benefits that we gain. First, we feel good. We feel better when we're practicing metta meditation. We actually feel good. There's a positivity that we experience when we practice metta. And think about it this way. When you do something good for someone else, you feel good about it. When you open the door, hold the door open for someone, and that person responds and says, thank you, it makes you feel good that you've done something good, that you've done something that is beneficial to that person. With metta meditation, it's a similar feeling. You feel good. You feel healthy. You feel connected. It increases your ability to experience gratitude, empathy, as well as compassion. And compassion is a desire to dispel the suffering of others. When you see someone suffering, you want to dispel that, and you also want to take action. Absolutely, Belinda. Volunteering makes you feel good. And actually, when you're volunteering, you are actually exhibiting and practicing loving kindness as well as compassion. Because again, compassion is loving kindness in action. So you're actually, when you volunteer, you're actually working to relieve the suffering of other people. That's an excellent point. Volunteering does make you feel good. So when we're practicing metta or loving kindness, again, we experience gratitude, empathy, and compassion. But we also experience a decrease in pain and stress that's caused by negative emotions. Think about all of the negativity that surrounds us every day and how that sticks in our head. And those negative thoughts create negative emotions, which cause us to feel stressed. Not only do we feel stressed, it can create a sense of isolation for us. We don't feel the liberty to talk to others when we're experiencing negativity and negative emotions. We separate ourselves from other people because it's just too much, we're overwhelmed. And we become disconnected. That's really, I think, what's happening right now because there's so much division in our country and in our world, even on our streets, right? In our families. And that division has caused us a lot of pain. It has caused our well-being to be negative. We're not as healthy as we were or could be. We feel isolated, we feel separated and disconnected from our support system. Practicing loving kindness, practicing meditation creates an atmosphere, an environment in which we're curious. Instead of proclaiming something, we ask questions. Instead of judging something, we ponder. We begin to demonstrate and experience curiosity. Not only that, we exhibit kindness as well as acceptance. And maybe we don't, and I would say acceptance of experiences. Acceptance. Metta, or the practice of loving kindness, reduces feelings of judgment as well as harsh criticism. We're less likely to be judgmental, and we're less likely to levy harsh criticism. Less likely to be mean and nasty. How about that? Less likely to be mean and nasty. It allows us to hold space for people around us. And we're less likely to harm ourselves and harm others. And how do we harm others? We can harm others with our words. We can harm others with our attitude. We can harm others with our silence sometimes. But we can also harm ourselves with negative thoughts and harsh judgment of ourselves. So, how do we practice? I talked about um, practicing loving kindness by just um, being kind to people around you, even people that you don't know, right? Holding the door open, speaking, smiling, greeting, saying hello. But when we are practicing meta meditation, what does that look like? Well, first of all, meta meditation starts out with an awareness practice. And we actually focus our awareness on our breathing. And that's to bring us into a space where we are calm, we are centered, we feel supported. And then we actually generate positive wishes for people we love, for ourselves, for people we don't have any feelings about, like people we just pass, people we're neutral towards, and then towards people with whom we have difficulty. One of the things about loving kindness meditation or meta meditation is that it can be challenging. It's easy for us to extend wishes, positive wishes, well wishes to those we love and care about. But it's not always so easy to extend the same to ourselves. We can be our own worst critics and our harshest critic. It might be easy for us to extend well wishes or warm thoughts, warm wishes to our postal man, our postal person, excuse me, or to the grocery person, the person who bagged our groceries or checked us out. But it can be very difficult for us to extend warm wishes, positive thoughts to someone with whom we've had difficulty. Meta meditation, the practice of meta meditation, is encompassing and it requires growth. It requires opening yourself to a to opportunities that you may not have had, but it can also change your perspective about winning and losing. That's a powerful, I think, it is a powerful combination. And it's how women absolutely win the world. Simply by being kind, by showing care, by considering others, by practicing in word and in deed loving kindness. The actual practice is, again, something that I've been trained to teach. And when you send well wishes, the basic well wishes begins with, may you be happy. May you be healthy. Excuse me, let me start all over. It begins by saying, may you be safe. May you be happy. May you be healthy. May you be at ease. And then it is extended to, again, those you love, those to yourself, those you have neutral feelings for, and then those for whom you have difficulty. Thank you, Belinda. I think we can win. And again, we win not by dividing ourselves, not by looking at ourselves as winners and others as losers. We win by recognizing the interconnectedness of all things, as well as by practicing loving kindness and compassion and extending compassion. Wow, I'm going to be talking about this a lot more. We are, again, in the throes of our mindfulness month. Please watch the replay. If you're not able to watch live, watch the replay. Also, if you are subscribed to the newsletter, I'll be sending it out soon with information about an information session about the mindfulness meditation classes that I will be holding soon. Well, that's all for now. I'm glad you can join me today. May you be safe. May you be happy. May you be healthy. And may you be at ease. Take care.